by the time this is posted, you've probably seen a couple other reading vlogs this year. I'm just getting into a new sort of pattern with reading vlogs. I want to do a single reading vlog for every book that I read, but as I've chosen a nonfiction as my first one and realized that I can't really tell you that much about it, first of all, because it's just so informative, I really wouldn't know where to start in conveying any sort of information. And secondly, because I highly recommend that you pick up this book and read it yourself. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is adding this to a compilation of nonfiction reads that I will have read by the end of the month. Especially because this year, instead of doing a New Year's resolution that will span the entire year, I'm trying micro resolutions. So I'm making a resolution for January. And my January resolution is to read nonfiction every day. That is my goal. Welcome to 2020. I wish that my year had started off a little bit better. I can say that I was not at the hospital at midnight. At least I had finally gotten home at that point, but I had just walked through the door, basically. So yesterday, I fully intended to finish the last book that I had outstanding for 2019, and I just didn't end up having the time to do so. So today, I am making a push to finish reading Black Lives Matter by Robyn Maynard. This book is very in-depth, very informative. Day 2, and I almost forgot about my micro resolution of reading nonfiction every day. So my resolution's going off to a great start. But it is 9 o'clock at night, so I still have time to read something. Thank goodness my plan wasn't to read a certain number of books or for a certain amount of time a day. Something. Just something. So, day 2, I am choosing a great course. Mark and I subscribed as a trial to the Great Courses Plus, so I am going to be attempting to listen to as many of these courses as possible before our 3-month period ends. So I've decided to start with one of the great courses that is not available in audiobook, because I figured the audiobook ones I can just get in audio. So the great course that I am going to be listening to today is Pompeii, Daily Life in an Ancient Roman City. And it is by Professor Stephen L. Tuck, I believe. I listened to the intro last year. I know, right? Already last year. And the one thing about the great courses is that, like, the first intro is just something that can I skip it? Can I not skip it? It's like the prologue of university lectures. So I am moving on to lesson number 1, which I think will be much more interesting than this prologue that I maybe kind of could have skipped, not entirely sure. So I've continued with the lectures on Pompeii, and so far I'm a little bit underwhelmed, mostly because I was promised daily life in an ancient Roman city, and so far I'm 5 or 6 lectures in and I've gotten architecture in an ancient Roman city. I realize that it's difficult to know exactly what daily life was that long ago, but still, that's what I was promised. I do intend to finish this lecture series, but in the meantime, I have switched to a different nonfiction audiobook. I have picked up So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijeoma Olou, and I don't usually think about nonfiction books as page turners. They're usually the kind of books that I sip at day by day and slowly finish reading. But this one is just written so compelling and so smoothly in its transitions between its chapters that I am having a hard time putting it down, and I feel like I'm probably going to finish it today, even though I just started it last night. It's definitely a powerful book, and I'm about halfway through, and I certainly recommend it. So I can only deduce that I must have taken a lot of painkillers in order to think that it was a good idea to put a hold on a book called The Mosquito by Timothy C. Winegard. Fine, it was also billed as a history of humankind through the eyes of our greatest predator, which was actually kind of interesting to me, so I put a hold on it. I didn't, I will add, look at how long this audiobook is, and my hold came in. Who writes a book about mosquitoes that is 19 hours long? Timothy C. Winegard, apparently. Am I going to finish reading this book in a week? Unlikely. I am in the middle of a flare-up again, so I don't have anything better to do than listen to an audiobook. But 19 hours of mosquitoes? Really? I read the first chapter, and it pretty well told me everything that I really want to know about mosquitoes. Delved into a little bit of the history of mosquitoes and told me about the diseases that mosquitoes bear and their life cycle, and a little bit too much detail on the symptoms that one gets when one has malaria. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that I'll finish reading this book at all. So I started reading We Have Always Been Here by Samra Habib. It is a queer Muslim memoir, and I am here for it. It starts off in Pakistan, which is a place that I have never been to and I'm very interested about. And she's currently, where I am in the book, come to Canada. This book is written very engagingly. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, other than I just want to keep reading it. So I feel like I'm probably going to finish that today. Yeah. This might end up being my last nonfiction book of January. So before I finish this vlog about all of the lovely nonfiction books I read this month, I wanted to circle back to the lecture series. This is something that I continue to pick at throughout the month. I'm only a couple away from finishing, and I will before the end of the month. I'm filming this on the 29th. So I wanted to give my thoughts. Initially, I was a little bit disappointed at the architecture-based seminars because I was looking for more daily life, and that doesn't really give me as great of an insight into daily Roman life as I had wanted. However, the further I'm getting in this series, the more that the professor is not only relying on the architecture to tell the story of Pompeii, but also letters and contemporary accounts, and that's more of what I wanted in this lecture. So it's very interesting to me, especially these past few lectures. They washed their clothes in urine. Wonderful. So I feel like I'm learning a lot and already choosing my next great course for next month. Did you read any nonfiction books this month? If so, please leave a comment, because I've decided to extend my micro resolution into February as well. I want to continue reading nonfiction every day just because I am enjoying myself so darn much. It's become a habit, it really has. So if you've read a good nonfiction book that you would like to recommend, feel free to leave a comment with the name of the book, and I will take a look at it. Until next time, happy reading.